Attention, you're listening to The Todd Huff Show, America's home for conservative, not bitter talk and education. Be advised, the content of this program has been documented to prevent and even cure liberalism, and listening may cause you to lean to the right. And now, coming to you from the Full Suite Wealth Studios, here is your conservative but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right, my friends. You have tuned in to America's home for conservative, not bitter talk. I am your host, the one, the only, the ever so beloved Todd Huff. It's a pleasure to be here today. Yes, if you're in Indiana, you've been following what we've been talking about regarding our new state map that was voted down. We'll get to that a little bit later today, but I've got a treat for you here off the top of the program. We're going to be talking with Mike Lindell, founder and CEO of MyPillow. He is running for governor in the state of Minnesota. I think this is fantastic. He'll be challenging Tim Walz, and we all got to know Tim Walz through the presidential campaign last year, and yikes, lots of problems in Minnesota, lots of problems in America, my friends. So Mike will be joining us here in just a moment. But friends, I want to tell you that if you're tired of spending your money with hard-earned money at businesses that turn around and then support leftist causes, leftist candidates, you don't have to do that anymore. That's exactly why we created Freedom Marketplace. It's free searchable directory of businesses that share your conservative values. They push in the same direction that you're pushing. And they vowed not to support those leftist candidates and causes. All you got to do is head on over to freedommarketplace.net. That's freedommarketplace.net. Liberty and business for all. With that being said, and no further ado, I'd like to invite to the program Mike Lindell, founder, CEO of MyPillow, and now candidate for governor in the great state of Minnesota. Mike, welcome to the program, sir. How are you today?
Real good. Thanks for having me on. I lost my voice a little bit yesterday making my announcement and talking all day, but I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, and I will tell you that I think this is great what you're doing, and I think we need more conservatives that are ready for the fight stepping into the mix. So just really quickly, I'm in Indiana. What are your immediate thoughts about what the Republicans in our state did yesterday, voting against the redistricting in Indiana?
Well, it's horrific. This has always been my biggest surprise since I started since the 2020 election in January and all through the year 2021. I went around the country and tried to get the paper ballots hand counted and talk to all these Republicans and all these uniparty Republicans. That was my biggest surprise. I was getting blocked by our own party, that they're not. It's almost like like they have a hidden agenda. It doesn't make sense. And when politicians make decisions that don't make sense, where it would help people and help us, there's a hidden agenda, and it's just it's so nonsensical. It's so disturbing. And that if we lose our country, it's going to be because of Republicans like that.
Yeah, it is disappointing. And do you think is it weakness? I remember I started this program 10 years ago, and I remember saying Republicans have two problems. One is they're either not conservative enough, or number two, they're not strong enough. They're too weak, and that's what people love about Trump, by the way, is his willingness to fight and stand for what he believes in. Is it weakness, or is it just that they don't have the principle? Do they not really see the risk of what they're up against? What do you think the problem is?
Well, it's weakness, but it's also I think there's a lot of the uniparty status quo, power, money. There's so many reasons, because I've probably met more politicians than anyone in a 4-year period ever. I mean, I went everywhere, and I just get surprised. Like decisions right over in Arkansas by Sarah Sanders Huckabee, the governor there. Just disgusting things she's done over there, and to block different things going through that we need as conservatives, and you've got Kim Hammers over there, you've got Brad Rassenberger in Georgia, you've got Robin Voss, Wisconsin, but I think it's those I think are different reasons. I think it's a deeper reason. I think there's a lot of corruption in our government, and then but then there's also weakness. The weaker ones, they don't want to do anything. I'll just keep on the status quo, and you know what? They're going to sit back and one day open their eyes and go, "Oh, what did I do? I was a part of this, a part of losing our country."
Yeah, I say on my program, in fact, I said this yesterday, everybody wants to be a politician when they can kiss babies and shake hands and,
right.
Go do the speaking events and get acknowledged and, throw out candy at the parade. But we've got real problems here, Mike, and I know that's one of the reasons, I guess, underlying the reason that you're running. So tell us a little bit about what made you decide to take this step to run.
Well, I was very much gonna run in 2022, but I changed my mind right after the 2020 election because I had a bigger calling to go out and around this country and get rid of the voting machines and get to paper ballots and count it. Which, by the way, in Texas we have great hope. Dallas County went to paper ballots, no machines in the upcoming primaries. So we're gonna have great movement there and a great prototype to show the country that it works. But so then just coming up here this summer, I'm going, you know what, if MyPillow's been the most attacked company in history, and I've spent the last year there just trying to keep it going. Our own government through the Operation Arctic Frost under Biden attacked MyPillow, and then we have all these things going on in Minnesota, and I'm going, we get one chance to fix this in Minnesota. It's right now we're involved in, as everybody knows, the biggest fraud in history of the United States when it comes to welfare fraud. But this goes back with the Somalians to the year 2000. We had problems back then. The Star and Tribune did a big article back then on it. And then in 2018, Jason Lewis, one of our politicians here in Minnesota, he brought forward all this fraud that was with daycare. And all they've done is just any welfare program, switch to that. They said it could be as high as $8 billion. But there's other things in Minnesota. I've lived here all my life, born and raised here, and it's I think we're at a tipping point here where Minnesota will be gone. It's and all this getting uncovered right now, and I don't trust anyone else to to do it right. So I said I'm going to do it. I'm going to run. I've got to get in there. I run MyPillow and I built businesses from scratch with nothing, from just working hard. And then I've also been there when we've had lots of adversity, and that's what Minnesota has right now. And you've got to go in round, and I've got great solutions for all the problems we have. Obviously, the biggest one is the fraud right now. But we've got other problems too, which a lot of big cities have. You go down to Minneapolis, and there's all the retailers and stuff. They're empty. You've got empty buildings. People at night don't go down there because out of fear. But you've got stuff going on all of our country, all of our state, and I've got I think I'm the only one I know I am. I know the only one that I think can get the job done right. These politicians, they get in there. They asked me yesterday when I announced running, they go, "Well, Mike, you're not a politician. What do you know about it?" Well, I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a great leader, and they so much in being a governor, I don't think there's any communication. Let's just say that Tim Walz, our current governor, is innocent and he didn't know anything about this fraud. Then he's guilty of the biggest neglect in history, because you're the governor. You're supposed to have communication and then maybe see some deviations. Hey, there's $8 billion missing. Maybe we should look into it.
Yeah.
And then our attorney general is too busy attacking my Lindell Recovery Network, and he's in on this too, and so is Elon Omar. Everybody knows that. But I just think I'm the only one that can get it done and get it done right.
Well, I know you've been working hard here, and believe me, Mike, I've had my voice hit before from all the talking I do, so we appreciate the fight and all that you're doing there. So let's talk a little bit about what happened. You referred to the paper ballots and the fighting that you've done for election integrity. I don't want to, that's a whole topic that we could talk about for hours. Right. But what were the biggest, I guess, takeaways from you when you looked into this, when you dug into this, when you started looking at just what the problems are? I mean, what are the biggest takeaways that Americans should know about just the way that our elections are run and some ways that we can maybe make that better?
Right. Well, 132 countries have banned electronic voting machines. Over 100 countries have banned early voting and mail-in voting. We have the worst election platforms in the history of the world. There's nothing worse. And so we need to get rid of them. It doesn't matter the brand. They need to go, and we're well on our way. We've got, like I said, I just said there's 5 counties in Texas that have voted out the machines to get to paper ballots. We've had people in all 50 states. I lead that. It's called the Cause of America. We have over 300,000 people on the ground in every county in the country, and we've been working hard for 4.5, 5 years to get as many counties to go to paper ballots hand counted. And don't be confused that it's hand marked paper ballots. Everyone says, well, we have paper ballots, Mike. We have hand marked paper ballots. Well, it goes into a tabulator, these machines, these computers. Right. And what I found right away was, when the 2020 election came along, I started getting the voter rolls and looking into who voted and where they voted from and all this. And I'll just do an example. Let's say it was 6,000 people in Wisconsin that voted that didn't live there. And I'm going, okay, it doesn't make sense that you could round up, hey, everybody who wants to go commit a crime and jump into Wisconsin and vote for Biden. As time rolled on, I bought every vote in the United States. And then one of my first places was Alabama. And I went down there, a Republican named John Merrill, Secretary of State, Republican. Anyway, I said, John, he charged me $40,000 for his voter rolls. And I said, John, look at here, you have 4,662 people that voted in Alabama, over 110 years old. And he looked at me, he says, well, Mike, we live pretty good here in Alabama. Oh, and I'm going, John, that's not funny. I mean, this was these uniparty blockers everywhere. But we've got great hope. The president, it's his number one concern. I talk to him all the time, and he's working from the top down. He knows we need to get to secure elections with paper ballots and counted. And he's put out executive orders, but there's more coming, and a lot more coming in the next 4 weeks. The biggest thing is we've got to spread the word when he does put out these announcements and orders that the states need to follow through on it.
Absolutely. I'm with Mike Lindell, founder and CEO of MyPillow. He's now running for governor of Minnesota. He'll be facing Tim Walz. And Mike, I've talked a little bit. You mentioned the fraud with the Somali immigrants and all that. We talked about that briefly on our program here, but not a lot. So could you give our listeners just a quick summary of what this problem really is in the state of Minnesota?
Yeah, well, there was, in Minnesota, we have more Somalians outside of Somalia, any place in the world. I believe it's over 100 and maybe 125,000 that were brought here. And Christy Noem said the other day that it looks like about 75% have overstayed their visa or might be here illegally. But the biggest thing was, these started in 2018, like I said. It was daycare fraud then, where they said they signed up and said they were taking care of kids, and they weren't. And then with the virus, this is where they stole most of the money. They would set up let's say restaurants for food to feed people in need, and then they never fed anybody. And you guys, well, that's, it's become, I think they're up to 88 charged now, and they say it could be between $1 billion and $8 billion with a B. So you look at this in Minnesota, how we feel, not just all the money they stole from the taxpayers. Remember, at the federal and state level, they stole it from everyone in the country. But but what about the people that really needed that money that it was allocated for, that needed the food and needed the help? And this also goes to, when you talk about illegals. I was in Chicago last year at the Democrat convention. I went there and kind of snuck in, but we went to the inner city, and the number one thing that they were saying, they were voting for Donald Trump, even though a lot of them didn't like him, was because the illegals had taken all their resources, including their treatment centers. They were filled, and the healthcare centers. But Minnesota, and by the way, in Minnesota, Ilhan Omar, This is like almost like a tribe of from Somalia, distinct tribe. I've heard that too, where she is. They say she married her brother to illegally. There's a lot of crimes I believe she's committed. It's been the news has protected her and others for years now. But this goes. I think Walz is in on this. That's what I think. I don't know how you could not be, and even Keith Ellison, our Attorney General. So this is the like Stephen Miller called it the biggest welfare crime in the history of the United States. It's not even close. And he said they're going to be coming out with all kinds of, I hope, indictments and charges and get these people put in prison that committed the crimes, and then get their ship and everyone else back that's not supposed to be here.
Now, I've seen ICE in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, I'm sure other areas as well. And I know that leadership there, current political leadership, which the mayor of Minnesota, or excuse me, the mayor of Minneapolis, and of course the governor there, Tim Walz, they do pretty much everything they can to prevent ICE from doing its job. What would a Lindell governorship, what would that look like in partnerships, a partnership with something like ICE? What would that look like?
Well, obviously, I would welcome them, just like you guys. Even the Washington D.C. mayor, a Democrat, she even welcomed ICE and put it out publicly. You got to work with your federal government. This is what Walz does here, and the mayor of Minneapolis is. They've done so many nonsensical things, like they let Minneapolis burn to the ground in the summer of 2020, and then when we had Thanksgiving that year, we were only allowed 8 people in our house, or your neighbor could turn you in and you would do 90 days in jail. Right. They had spy things set up. You got 12 people for Christmas. I mean, these guys have a very hidden evil agenda. That's all I can say. The stuff they do doesn't help anybody. And except for themselves, I don't even know how it helps them there. It's really sad, and it's really, I just think it's great that it's all getting revealed, and hopefully that they end up in prison too if they've been a part of this.
I had not been to your state of Minnesota until last summer. We've got family that lives up there, just outside of Mankato, and I'm in the Midwest, and it's got a lot of the same flavor as Indiana as far as, again, I didn't travel the whole state, but just from the people I spoke with. And, it's interesting to me how a state like Minnesota can elect a guy like Tim Walz. What's going on there to begin with, Mike, to where your state has elected people like Mayor Fry or Governor Walz there to begin with? What's fueling that?
Oh, the mayor downtown, realize that Somalians, I think, are now 1/4 of the population in Hennepin County and Minneapolis. So and I think they might have been a part of that. But the other thing here in Minnesota is election crime. It's just rampant. Just like every state. And, I'm hopefully that this, all the things going on will uncover all this too. You have to have secure elections. But also like in Minnesota here, I think we went California, Colorado, and then Minnesota. We get so many, the downtown, and it's almost turning like socialist now instead of just your liberal. But that's part of it. How you get it's all about marketing too. And I think, people are seeing through that now. It used to be, you go back just a few years and everybody believed the press. So whoever had the most money in their run could just put out ads after ads, and whoever spent the most. And I got tired of hearing that too over the last 4 years. Well, how much money did that person raise? He needs this money to much money to win. Those numbers went out the window. They're gone. Those things are gone because we have too many social media sites now, too many podcasts out there. People are getting their information from more than just watching Fox News and CNN and your local ABC, CBS, and NBC. So I think, a lot of it was that. But if I was to say if Minnesota had a fair election, exactly fair, I'd say that it would turn red. we've been the only state that's been red since blue since 1972.
Yeah.
But I just think, and I think this is going to open people's eyes to a lot of the, you see what's going on in New York now, what's going to happen there. I think they'll learn the hard way, like California has with many, many cities there. I don't know where all that path has taken us with people that get brought up and brainwashed. I think maybe with, like I say, with more media sites now, maybe there won't be as much of that, but we'll have to see.
If I want to shift gears here really quickly, I just have a minute and a half or so, but I know that your company, MyPillow, has been the focus of lots of attacks. You've dealt with so many things I can't even imagine, and I applaud you for your tenacity and strength of courage to fight through this. And I'm asking, you're not complaining. Just tell the listeners, I've got about 90 seconds, that I want to also tell folks that we're partnered with you. They can go to mypillow.com, use promo code Todd, and get discounts on all sorts of products on your site. So, but give them just a quick synopsis of what you've had to deal with here in the next, I guess, 60 seconds, Mike. What's happening?
We've been debanked. It's called Operation Arctic Frost by Biden's government back to 22, all the way up to present, still carry over. But we were debanked at 4 banks. Our merchant server was canceled on us. American Express canceled us. PayPal. They went to our vendors. This is our own government, FBI and DOJ, went to our vendors and said, don't do business with MyPillow or we're going to debank you. They went to my landlords. I mean, it was, I don't know what keeps happening, but it was all an attack on not just MyPillow and myself. My FBI took my phone in a drive-through one year. But there was 92 other people, including 9 senators. It's all in the news if you guys check it out. But this also and then MyPillow was also attacked with lawfare with the voting machines companies that came after just me, but they came after my employee-owned company, which had nothing to do with what their employee that I was out there doing, trying to help the country. So, but we've gotten through by the grace of God and people out there supporting us. So you guys use that promo code Todd. You're going to get free shipping on your entire order for Christmas here, and you're going to get the best specials you ever see. So many USA-made products that we make right here, and they are the best products ever, and we're going to do that today for everybody. So promo code Todd.
Well, Mike, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you running for governor. Good luck there. If there's anything else we can do to help you, we'd love to do that. That's Mike Lindell, founder, CEO of MyPillow, running for governor in the great state of Minnesota. Folks, I got to take a time out. You're listening here to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute. Welcome back, my friends. I hope you enjoyed that conversation I had with Mike Lindell from MyPillow. He's running for governor of the state of Minnesota against Tim Walz. He's just announced that here, I think yesterday, actually. We've been a partner of theirs for a good while now, and I had my contact there, and I had talked about having Mike on the program before, and she said, gave me some details, and once he made the announcement, he was going to come on here and share that with you. So I hope you enjoyed that. Even though that's, again, we've talked a lot about Indiana these past few weeks. We talked about Minnesota. Again, what we've got here is this great republic where there are similar battles being fought all across the country. Similar battles. It's, of course, different in every state, but there certainly are similarities. There certainly are concerns about fraud, waste, fraud, and abuse, about what's happening with our election rolls, how people are allowed to vote, the weaponization of the government against political enemies, but also against businesses, like Mike was sharing there at the end. He wasn't complaining, by the way. I was asking him to tell what he's been up against, what he's had to endure. So I appreciate Mike joining the program, and hope you did as well. So, shifting gears here a little bit, friends, let's be honest. When your financial world starts getting a little more complicated, you need more than one-size-fits-all advice. That's where Full Suite Wealth shines. Their team specializes in working with families and individuals at your level, offering personalized guidance that goes far beyond the basics. From private equity and private credit to options, strategies, and coordinated legal planning, Full Suite Wealth helps you see the big picture and make confident decisions about your legacy. It's all about having a dedicated team guide you every step of the way so that you can focus on what matters most, your family, your goals, your future. If you want real confidence in your financial life, head on over to fullsuitewealth.com. That is fullsuitewealth.com. Build your legacy, secure your future. Okay. Now, shifting gears, you know that I'm, in the time we have left today, going to talk about what happened in Indiana yesterday. Now, if you listened yesterday, you would have heard me say I thought it was 50-50, and I did. I thought it was 50-50, but it also doesn't surprise me that Republicans lost as much as they, that they've lost by as many votes as they did. They actually lost in the Senate 31-19. I thought it was going to be, if we didn't win this vote, I thought it was going to be something like 27-23 or 26-24 even. That's what I thought, not 31-19. So it is what it is. We lost this fight, and I told you yesterday that if we did lose this fight, I said it in the program, I remember distinctively, I said there's going to be some trash talkers because this is how they are. I'm telling you, I know these folks like the back of my hand. I do. I wish sometimes I didn't because it means that you have to understand some just really sometimes depraved minds, my friends. And so I had them, a few of them coming after me, a few of them coming back to me on old posts that I had made, like my open letter to my Senator Rod Bray, state senator, who, by the way, never responded to me. And may it be known today that I am engaged in doing whatever I can to make sure his Senate seat here in my district, District 37 in Indiana, if you're in that district, by the way, if you're in that district or if you're a Hoosier anywhere and you want to be a part, it's one thing to come on here to talk about it. Folks, I'm not an activist, but I'm a pragmatist. I want to see this state move in the right direction. I've already been communicating with the folks at Turning Point Action. Brett Galashewski, who came on the program last week, the one who invited me to speak at the State House. We've already been in communication. They've already posted jobs for, I don't know the title. He sent it to me. I don't have it in front. Maybe I do here. But they've posted jobs for, what is it here? We've got, what are they calling them? It's field representatives in Warsaw, Indiana, Granger, Indiana, Terre Haute, Indiana, Crown Point, and Schererville, Indiana. Turning Point, tpaction.com/careers if you want to see the positions they're hiring there. So they're serious about it. I've already been in communication with them, and I think my message to him was, hey, Brett, I'm here to hold these rhinos accountable. He said, good, let's do it. So there's going to be action immediately. And so if you want to be a part of it, just send me a note. Just put Indiana in the subject line or whatever. Just a short note about the maps, about fighting to replace these rhinos. We're going to partner with them. I don't know what this is going to look like, but I will tell you that we are serious about this, and we're not going away. I told Rod Bray, well, of course, he never responded to me, so I don't know if he got the message. But I told them that we are going to hold folks accountable. I don't mean it as a threat. I'm just simply saying that we are their constituents, and they've made this decision. I told you that all along. This is what I said. I said that they could vote. It's their prerogative. They voted against it. It's a political process. And I said, from the consequences, the results of their vote will have consequences. And if they would have voted for it, there would be people trying to vote them out. And if they vote against it, there are going to be people like me and like many of you who are going to try to get them voted out. But this is a practical moment in time. This is where we can move from just academically understanding this stuff and having our own opinions to actually trying to move the needle. Folks, we're in the middle of a cold civil war. We've got a lot of different enemies, political enemies. I don't mean mortal enemies, but political enemies. Now, there are people who are diametrically opposed to our worldview, who have been pushing a godless, radically left agenda down our throats for a long time. Those folks are the greatest domestic threat that we have. They weaken America. They open up opportunities for our children's minds to be poisoned. They threaten us by putting heavy financial burdens and heavy amounts of taxation on us. I go on through that list. But this issue was political, and now we're engaging in a political battle, and I will be out there, and I hope you will join me in trying to hold these folks accountable. And that's what we're going to do. So just send an email to todd@toddhuffshow.com. Just put Indiana in that subject line if that's something that you're interested in. But we're going to be doing a lot with that, maybe partnering in some ways with Turning Point. Action may look at, I don't know exactly what Heritage Action is doing, but we will, believe me, there will be some coordination here and some other folks involved. Maybe even there's other individuals who've mentioned about doing things here in the state as well. And so if you're interested in that, please send the email todd@toddhuffshow.com. Just put Indiana or something like that in the subject line, and I'll get you put into that group, and we'll get moving on that here in due course. So, okay. I want to tell you just one of the examples, I guess, one of the examples of some trash talking I was subjected to yesterday, which entertained me because, again, I told you that this was coming. You knew that it was coming. You know that that's how these people act and behave. It's who they are. I told you that if we would have won, I wouldn't have been taunting other people. But it's okay. It's okay to me if they want to engage this week or this way. But it goes to show just how often pathetic these folks can be. So I'm trying to find, here it is. I posted my open letter to Rod Bray. So there's a guy immediately after the vote yesterday that came on and said, he came to the page and said, well, that didn't age well. And then I basically responded by saying, I told my listeners today that there would be trash talkers if we lost the vote. Predictably, you're here, Alan. How did this not age well? Because they didn't agree with me, because the side I'm on lost the vote. That's a wild way to live your life. I don't need a majority approval to validate my opinions. That's what logical thinking and debate is for. But I understand some need validation, and I suppose you have what you need tonight. Conservative, not bitter. And then there's Matthew. Say that I'm bitter. Oh, Matthew. But they came out. I had others I'd been communicating elsewhere, and some of them were dropping some things I can't even read on here. It's amazing to me that that's the starting point, my friends, to drop all sorts of expletives and to call people stupid. It's very, very effective and persuasive. So anyway, disappointing, but again, this is just all part of the fight. As I've said before, this is not going away, my friends. We've got to engage in this fight and be prepared for this for the long time. Friends, let's face it, living with discomfort is tough, and while prescription medications can help, they often come with a long list of side effects, not to mention the risk of dependency. That's why more people are exploring natural options like Kratom from Christopher's Organic Botanicals. This is a family-run company that does things the right way. They work directly with Indonesian farmers. They lab test every batch. No synthetics, no chemicals, no surprises, just honest, natural Kratom that's been used for generations. So you can go to their website, Christopher'sOrganicBotanicals.com, to do your research, or if you're ready to make a purchase, start with their Kratom Starter Pack. Use code TODDHUFF. You'll save 10%. Christopher'sOrganicBotanicals.com. Truth, tradition, transparency. Time out for me, my friends. Back in just a minute. Welcome back, my friends. I was looking for the other comment that I got on social media. I tell you, these people who, by the way, have the audacity to call little old me bitter, my friends. I tell you, this is pretty interesting to me to watch people's reaction. I remember after the 2020 election, I used to have, I got to know this individual. She was a liberal Democrat, but we were friends and had a good relationship, whatever. And I remember when Biden won the election in 2020, as soon as they won, she's like sending me text messages, trash talking. We're going to have a woman suck on that. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was something like that. We're going to have a first female president, as though that was my objection to a Biden-Kamala ticket. But anyway, some of them, again, this, for some people, hear me say this. I say a lot of words in a show every day, my friends, and I certainly want all of them to hit, but there are some things that I really want people to understand. And for the radical left, I am telling you, government is their God. This is, look, to worship something means to consider it ultimately worthy. It's the thing that we put priority on over all of our lives. This is something that the reason why we all worship something. And the left, I'm telling you, worships God, and they worship they worship power. And so when you threaten that, I mean, they are ready to go. I mean, it's like a religious war for them. So here's a guy on Facebook that said, in response to a comment I had made somewhere, his name's Richard. He says, "Stay your stupid ASS out of Indiana. If you got to cheat, you're not a true Christian, are you?" No punctuation. I mean, it's hard to read these comments. It's like there's no punctuation. There's misspelling. I don't know where the beginning and the end of the sentence is. I don't think he does either. I know he doesn't. But this is how people respond. That's the opening response. Someone else who, again, they don't respond to my open letter until after the vote's finalized, named Ken, says, "Bye, we don't have enough votes." That's what Rod Bray said initially. I think he meant that not enough people would vote for it because it sucks and it's unnecessary unless you just... I don't even know what to say about this. I can't even edit this in real time to read it. He uses the word suck and refers to something about Trump. You engage in that activity so hard, it keeps keeping the oxygen from your brain. Sit back and breathe. It might clear things up for you. Have you noticed, like, these are the responses I get? And that doesn't, truly, there was a time, I think, when I first started, I really didn't want to have that. I thought, look, I'm not going to give them any unnecessary fuel for this blind rage. But, folks, it doesn't matter. They disagree with you, you're stupid. That's the goal. Is that how I talk to people? Is that how you talk to people? You try to reason with them. At some point, when there's no reason, you realize that they might, it's evident that they've handed themselves over or given themselves over. God's given themselves over to a depraved mind. Again, and this is a political issue here. This one's not good and bad, right and wrong. I think that having redrawn those maps, it would have given Indiana an advantage to better fight against the evil when it comes to those issues. But again, people can disagree with me. I'm telling you, I haven't had a person explain to me why. They don't want to. They'll say it needs to be fair. And I say, okay, I agree. What's fair? And they can't tell me. Why are one set of lines fair and another set of lines unfair? Why does Indianapolis get one solid district and not multiple? Who's to say that they can't have that? Explain that to me. Explain to me how this is something that's unconstitutional, or explain to me how it's cheating. It's done in accordance with the law, right? I mean, they don't have any. They just didn't want it. And listen, I understand that, but don't pretend like I'm stupid or think that I'm stupid because you disagree. It's not how you persuade people. I'll tell you that. Anyway, it's a sad day in a way, but listen, this fight, whether we won or not, this fight was going to have to continue. Friends, think about this. Your investments are like seeds that you plant. They grow, they multiply, but are they bearing the kind of fruit that you want? At 4-8 Financial, they believe your money should reflect your values. They specialize in wealth management and biblically responsible investing, screening out companies that do not align with your faith. It's all part of their purpose-centered financial planning, helping you live a life of meaning and purpose. If you want to see how your investments line up with your values, just head on over to 48financial.com/Todd. That's 48financial.com/Todd. 48 Financial, they're here to worry about your money so you do not have to. All right, friends, I don't have a lot of time left. In conclusion, I'm still, in fact, I invited someone else. There are reasonable people that engage with me, and who say, for example, Rod Bray is not a rhino. I disagree. I've given reasons why. They don't give reasons why not. They just say he's not and that I'm wrong. If it goes on for too long, they might say that I'm stupid. Fortunately, I don't really put much value. There's an old saying that says, don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from. That's really meant a lot to me as I've grown this program. I care about what you think. I care about what reasonable people think. Not in the sense that it's not going to, that'll persuade me unless I'm truly persuaded, but I certainly respect people who have different opinions. I'm not going to treat them like they treat me and people like us oftentimes, but we have to understand this is what this is about. This is for all the marbles, my friends. This is for control, political power here in this country. And we had better be serious about taking control and fighting these folks in every way possible. But I got to go. SDG.